Hi everyone, thanks for being here. Today, I'm bringing you news that has shaken half of the Turkish entertainment world, and especially those who have followed Kanyaman and Demet Özdemir for years. Because what seemed like a closed story, one of those that stay forever in the memory of a series, has just reopened in the most unexpected way. For a long time, people talked about signs, scattered rumors, blurry photos, and alleged meetings in Istanbul. You know how it goes. A tiny clue and social media catches fire. But this time, we're not dealing with just any comment or a fandom theory. This time, everything exploded because of something very simple and, precisely for that reason, very powerful. A photo. Demet shared a natural image on her social media with no forced posing. She was smiling, calm, as if nothing were happening. But behind her, almost out of focus, appeared a profile that everyone recognized instantly. Can, his beard, his features, and that distinctive tattoo that gave him away within seconds. It wasn't a shadow or an optical illusion, it was him. And what truly lit the fuse was the caption that accompanied the photo, a kind of open message to the past, as if saying that certain doors knock again, and sometimes you decide to open them. Within minutes, social networks overflowed. The most discussed topics filled with reactions, forums came back to life, and the story that began on screen with Erkenci Kuş seemed to jump into real life again, because the chemistry they had in the series was never just another one. It was the kind you can feel even behind the camera. That's why, for years, the question kept hovering. Will they ever get back together? And now, all of a sudden, reality seems to be answering yes. But the strongest moment came afterward. All eyes were on Kanyaman, waiting to see whether he would ignore it, stay silent, or respond. And he responded. The next day, he posted a simple story, sitting in a cafe with a calm smile without theatrics. And he wrote only 2 words, 2 short words loaded with meaning, closeness, and belonging. For me, that was the moment when everything stopped being rumor. A very clear way of saying I'm here without long explanations. A direct, intimate gesture that is almost impossible to interpret any other way. From there came the inevitable earthquake, massive joy, emotion, but also debate. Some celebrated the return as if it were the ending they had been waiting for years. Others, more cautiously, wondered what changed this time, what happened between them before, and whether this reunion can last. Personally, I believe what we saw did not feel like a publicity strategy. There was no promotion of a new project, no marketing behind it. What showed was something more human, that natural spark you can't manufacture. The international press also joined in. In Italy, Spain, and Latin America, they began to treat it as the Turkish love story that is reborn. And of course, when 2 figures with this level of impact come together again, the echo is global. People don't talk about them only out of nostalgia. They talk because they remain 2 names that move crowds. And then, the other big question appears. Will there be a new project together? Industry chatter suggests a major announcement could be coming. Maybe a series, maybe a film, maybe something international. But for now, they say nothing. And honestly, that seems healthy to me. This time, they're not rushing, they're not hiding, but they're not living to prove anything to anyone either. They seem more mature, more balanced, as if they've understood that what matters is not shouting it to the world, but protecting it. So yes, this story is entering a second chapter. And although no one can know where it will go, what is obvious is that December 5th 2025 has been marked as the day a relationship that seemed part of the past returned to the present. Destiny? Time that healed? An inevitable reunion? Call it whatever you want. I only know that right now, what we all feel is curiosity and a little hope to see how far this goes. If you want, in the next video, we'll analyze the reactions, the most discussed details, and what signs might point to a shared project. But for now, this is what we have. 2 small gestures, 1 photo, and 2 words that reopened a story half the planet believed was over. Reading the comments you left about Ken Yaman and Demet Özdemir, I realized that behind the noise, there's something quite clear. People are confused, tired, and at the same time, emotionally hooked on a story that belongs more to memory than to the present. Fans don't know whom to believe, someone says, and I feel the same. But if I focus on Demet, what I see is a woman who has had to carry not only her career, but also the shadow of a narrative that won't stop chasing her. Being half of something the public refuses to let go. That Romanian comment caught my attention. Almost desperate, asking people to stop mixing Demet with Can, because he supposedly said there was never any relationship, and because, ethically, people should talk about Can without dragging her into it. I don't know if Can's statement was exactly like that, but the request feels legitimate for another reason. Demet is not anyone's appendage. Sometimes I feel that part of the fandom looks at her as if she were obliged to stay forever in the same 2017-2020 chapter, as if her real life had to obey the chemistry of Erkenci Kuş. And that seems deeply unfair to me. The chemistry was real on screen, yes, but it isn't a life sentence. I also notice in the comments a kind of constant audit of Demet's time and choices. Some people argue about dates, state confidently how long certain periods lasted, and even suggest she had time to hold on to him or go with him if she truly loved him. That bothers me, because honestly, who can know from the outside what really happened in those years? It's a clear example of how the public tries to turn Demet's love life into an equation. If A happened in a given year, then B had to happen. And if it didn't, it's because she didn't want it or he didn't want it. But life doesn't work that way. People don't love, stay, or leave along a logical line meant to satisfy outsiders, especially not under fame, pressure, schedules, and brutal exposure. What worries me most about these readings is that they do 2 things at once. They reduce Demet to a romantic role and then judge her for not playing it. For me, Demet has been trying for a long time to break that cage. She has chosen projects that take her out of the mold and has built an identity broader than the bright girl from a romantic drama. You may like it or not, but I see it as a clear pursuit of artistic independence. That's why I find it hard to believe she'd want to revive a rumor out of nostalgia or marketing. If anything, Demet has shown she doesn't want to live stuck to a single storyline. At the same time, I understand the public's emotional side. I see supportive comments like, "better late than never," or people talking about mistakes, reflection, correction. Even if those messages are aimed more at Kane, they reflect something that also affects Demet. The public wants redemption, a nice ending, an explanation that turns chaos into a fairy tale. But I think that for Demet, there's nothing to redeem in the romantic sense many expect. She doesn't have to justify moving on, loving other people, or not staying where the audience dreamed she would. That expectation of her finishing someone else's fairy tale is too heavy. There's also something not stated explicitly in the comments, but that I feel underneath. Demet is still used as a mirror to talk about Khan. When Can succeeds abroad, the question appears, why didn't she go with him? As if her value depended on following someone else's path. That seems like the cruelest trap. Demet doesn't have a smaller career because she isn't in Italy or Spain. She has a different career with her own decisions, rhythms, and reasons. Judging her through Can is not seeing her at all. So when someone says, "Where and when did he say it?" or "It's all a lie," I don't read it only as skepticism about the rumor. I also read it as exhaustion with a machine that keeps reviving the same topic and placing Demet at the center of a debate she neither chose nor controls. And that's the most unfair part to me. Demet gets trapped in a media cycle that feeds on her name even if she says nothing. Intentions are assigned to her, actions invented for her, strategic silences attributed to her. And maybe she's simply living her life. In short, my sense is that Demet Özdemir is in another phase, and sometimes the fandom won't let her stay there. Nostalgia for the fictional couple is understandable. Affection for that story too. But turning it into a permanent demand on Demet is a mistake. If today there's nothing with Can, that's fine. It doesn't diminish what they were on screen. And if there was something and it belongs to the past, there's no reason to turn it into an eternal debt. I prefer to look at Demet as what she is now. An actress trying to grow beyond the ship. A woman who doesn't have to fit anyone's emotional script. And someone who deserves to be named for her own path, not as the echo of a story the public still doesn't want to let go of.